At the story's beginning, we get to see an interview from 1968, in which the scientist is asked about the virus on TV. Scientists believe that the whole world can fall ill due to the virus simultaneously, and there will be a lot more danger than this. Then another scientist is asked there, and then he says that this virus is a kind of fungus, which affects the mind of humans, and this thing brings changes in their bodies. Due to this, their body doesn't decompose. And for this reason, people can live longer in any condition. And due to the climate change in the world, this benefits fungi to grow. These things spread very quickly, as well as these things affect their mind as well. And their death is fixed somewhere. Then the year 2003 is shown. We see Sarah making breakfast and her father Joel and her uncle Tommy walk in. Today is Joel's birthday. Joel inquires about Sarah's studies, which seem to be going well. Tommy tells that today we have to work a double shift, so there may be a delay in coming home. Joel says that he will come by 9 o'clock and will bring a cake along with him. Joel asks Sarah to get ready so that he can drop her off at school. Sarah takes a watch and steals some money from the room before going downstairs. They meet their neighbors outside. Sarah says that she will come to meet them after school. Then Joel leaves with Sarah and all three move forward. Their car also shows that Joel and Tommy were in the military before. After school, Sarah takes a bus to a shop to get her father's watch fixed, where she hears firefighters and police sirens from outside. Then the shopkeeper's wife comes there and closes the shop, and Sarah takes her watch and leaves from there. Sarah comes back and goes to the neighbor's house. Sarah does her homework there. She also looks at the movie collection of their house. Only then do some changes start happening in Mrs. Adler which Sarah cannot see. Then she takes a movie with Kara's permission and comes out of the house. She sees fighter planes flying. At night, Joel comes home from work. Then Sarah asks about the environment outside. Joel tells that everything is fine there. Sarah says that she has brought a birthday present for Joel. She would have got Joel's watch fixed with his own money. Joel is delighted to see the movie she brought from neighbor's house. Now both of them start watching that movie. Sarah falls asleep in no time. Then Joel gets a call from Tommy there. He tells that he was in a bar and there a man was teasing a waitress. Then Tommy is jailed for trying to save her. He has called Joel to get him bailed. Then Joel leaves after putting Sarah to sleep in the upstairs room. After a few hours, Sarah hears a lot of planes and helicopters from outside. And then she sees that Joel is not at home and emergency is shown on TV as well. Sarah then sees Kara's dog Mercy, who is scared. Sarah arrives at Kara's house and finds that Mr. Adler is badly injured, and Mrs. Adler is eating Kara. The fungus of some strange virus is also visible in her mouth. Then Sarah runs away from there and her father and Tommy come in front of her. Joel knocks Mrs. Adler down. And then Joel, Tommy, and Sarah leave from there. A lot of infected people are seen there, yet all three keep on moving forward. Joel tells that a virus kind of parasite has spread in the city and they have to get out of there. Now those people are crossing the border and going to Mexico. Here all the houses and cities are destroyed and then all three move forward through a city. There are a lot of people there and those people follow them. Only then a plane comes and falls behind them, due to which that vehicle is also destroyed. After some time Joel wakes up and he sees that Sarah's ankle is hurt. Only then the police car comes and collides with it. Due to this, there is a fire. Tommy is on the other side of the car and he tells Joel to head to the river. Joel runs away picking up Sarah and then he sees some infected zombies and one of them runs after them. Then Joel takes Sarah from there, but that zombie is about to catch them. Only then a soldier kills him, and there he tells that those people are not infected. Then that officer talks to his senior, and on his orders fires at Joel. Then Joel jumps to the other side with Sarah. Again he goes to kill Joel, but then Tommy kills him on the spot. Joel sees that Sarah has been shot and is dead, and this makes him very sad. Then the story is seen after 20 years in Boston in 2023. While moving forward through the jungle, a girl falls in front of a quarantine zone. Then the soldiers come and take her inside. An officer comes to her and sees that the girl has a cut from an infected zombie. Is she also infected? This is checked. That soldier talks about giving good food to the girl and then gives her an injection. On the other hand, some people are taking out dead bodies from vehicles in the city and burning them under the supervision of military personnel. And there we see Tess with Joel. Now they both live together. Tess is horrified to see the girl who has just been murdered. Joel picks up the girl and throws her into the fire. Now the work ends there, and Joel gets paid for his shift. He asks about other work in which he would get more money. The man asks him to meet in the evening. Joel sees in the city that people caught outside the quarantine zone or breaking the rules are given the death penalty. Joel indicates to meet the soldier named Pedro, and both meet at a place. He pays for the pills. Joel needs a car battery that Pedro has no idea about. Pedro says stay off the streets for the next few nights because 2 of our guys got shot this morning. That's why now the security has been increased. On the other hand, a man named Robert is holding Tess. Tess had given him money for the battery, but he sold it to someone else and spent the money as well. His men beat up Tess, which scares Robert, because if Joel comes to know, he will kill him. Then there is an explosion and Robert's companions are killed. Tess comes out and sees that Robert has run away. Their soldiers are shooting at a sniper, because he is a rebel whom they call Firefly. The soldiers apprehend Tess. We see a girl named Ellie imprisoned in a building in the city. Then a rebellion comes there. She is a member of the Firefly group. She asks Ellie to do the counting, which she does easily. Then she leaves from there. Ellie is furious at being imprisoned at that place. On the other hand, Joel meets a man who collects information about missing people and gives them to the people who know them. He gives him some cigarettes, and then he tells that he hasn't received Tommy's message yet. Joel is getting worried because Tommy always used to message within 1 day, but now it's been 3 weeks. He gets furious at him and asks him the location of Cody Tower. Then he leaves with the information. Joel comes home, takes out his hidden weapons, then looks at the map to find the way to the tower. Then he drinks and also takes pills, then sleeps there. Tess also comes home at night and she sleeps with Joel. Joel wakes up the next day and he comes out. He notices that Tess is injured and is incensed by this. Tess tells I got jumped by a couple guys. Then Joel starts looking at his wound and says that it is an old injury. Tess says she was in Fedor's lockup all day. Tess reveals that Robert sold the battery to someone else. Joel gets furious after hearing this. Tess says that whoever Robert sells the battery to, we will steal that battery from there. Then we'll go find Tommy. In the building where Ellie is imprisoned, there comes a rebellion named Marlene. She is the leader of the Fireflies in the Boston QZ. Her companion Kim asks her about the recent riots. Marlene says those people are just distracting Fedra. Kim asks why Ellie is here. Then Marlene gives her a paper which she is shocked to see. She tells that tonight many people will gather in this building and will take Ellie from here. Marlene approaches Ellie and gives her the bag. Ellie takes out her knife and she looks happy. Marlene opens her handcuffs and tells that because of me your life has been saved. She also tells that it was her who sent Ellie to Fedra's military school. Then there Ellie is shocked and she thinks that Marlene is her mother. Marlene clarifies that she is not her mother. Ellie says I have to go home. She says that Ellie is very special and she is going to tell her something that she should not tell anyone, because this thing can put her life in great danger. Tess talks to a man and finds out to who Robert sold the batteries. Then she tells Joel that they will have to leave shortly to go there. After a few hours, they both proceed through an empty train tunnel through Haymarket and enter the house. There they see the body of a dead man who was killed by the fungus. Then both of them go upstairs and enter a building. They find many people killed there. There Robert is dead. Tess discovers that the battery was faulty, and this infuriates her. They hear someone's voice, then Joel goes ahead and there he finds Marlene injured. Ellie attacks him but Joel survives. Joel and Marlene both know each other from before. Marlene wanted the battery and while taking it there was a shootout, she says. She is injured and now she can't get out of there. She makes an offer to Joel and asks him to drop Ellie from here to the state house in another city. On reaching there, her team members will give him weapons and a car. Joel agrees to this thing. Then all 3 of them leave from there. All 3 come from there to Joel's house. Joel and Tess plan to take Ellie away at night after locking her in a room. Ellie looks through Joel's belongings and finds the code word 60, 70, 80 in a book. Then Joel comes in and there the radio is on. Then Ellie understands this is the radio's smuggling code. Joel smuggles drugs through the radio. In which 60s song, they don't have anything new. 70s song, they got new stuff. But in the 80s she doesn't understand that. Joel begins to rest as they have to wait until nightfall. When he wakes up, Ellie tells him you were mumbling in your sleep. She asks if he has gone out before. He says I have already gone out. Then he asks, are you some kind of bigwig's daughter or something? Ellie says something like that. She tells that the song Wake Me Up Before You Go was playing here. Joel got shocked. She realizes that his delivery person is in danger. Then Tess comes there and tells them that now they have to leave. At night, the military keeps an eye on the entire city. Joel, Tess, and Ellie come out of the city through the tunnel there. All three cross the wall and go towards the border. There, all three are caught by Pedro. Joel asks him to let them go, and in return, he promises to give him a lot of drugs. Pedro says that he cannot risk his job for drugs. There he tests all three whether they are infected. Joel and Tess are not infected. When he goes to test Ellie, she stabs him. Pedro is there to kill her, and then Joel comes in front and saves her. Pedro asks him to move. Then Joel remembers the memory of Sarah's death in which the soldier was about to shoot them. Joel grabs Pedro and beats him until he becomes unconscious. Tess discovers that Ellie is infected. Ellie tells that she was injured 3 weeks ago but is still normal. Only then other soldiers were also coming there. Then Tess tells them to leave, and all three cross the fencing and leave the area. All three used to move from the other empty part of the city which does not come under the quarantine zone. That place is filled with infected people. At the beginning of the episode, we see the city of Jakarta, Indonesia in the past. And a mycologist Ibu Ratna is having lunch there. Then 2 officers come there, one of whom is named Agus Hidayat. Now those people take Ibu Ratna and leave from there. He tells that an emergency has come, and that is why they are taking her to a lab. Then they come to the lab where Ibu Ratna is shown a fungus named Ophiocordyceps, about which Ibu has considerable knowledge. There the officer tells that this sample has been taken from the human body. She says that this fungal cannot survive in the human body. Then she goes to a body to check. Someone had bitten her body and she was infected. Then she checks her mouth. From there she gets fungus prepared in the human body due to fungal infection. It can now survive in the human body. Ibu gets scared seeing this and comes out from there. She asks Officer Hidayat when and how this happened. The officer tells that this happened 30 hours back in the grain factory. Changes started coming in one of their employees and he became quite dreaded. He injured 3 people and fled from there. Till now 14 people are missing. Those 3 other injured employees are undergoing treatment. Now they need a vaccine for this infection. Ibu tells that there is no cure for this thing. The officer asks what should we do. Ibu advises that they should bomb the whole city. Otherwise, this infection can destroy the whole world. Now she wants to go home as she has to spend her last time with her family. Then the story comes in the present. Ellie wakes up and finds Joel and Tess sitting in front of her. They look at Ellie's wound which is still not infected. Tess asks why Marlene didn't kill her after she was infected and sent her with them. Ellie tells that she is not infected nor is she going to become a zombie. Then she goes to pee from there. Joel feels that she will become a zombie anytime and it is a danger to take her along. But Tess feels that this is the last thing she will have to do to get the battery. When Ellie returns, Tess asks why she is so special to Marlene. She tells that there is a Firefly camp base where those people are going. Some doctors over there are looking for a cure for this fungus. Fungal infection is not affecting Ellie, so those people can find a cure for it. Joel says that he has heard these things many times before. But to date, no one has found a cure for this thing. Tess feels that all she has to do is deliver Ellie to the Firefly group and finish her job. And she persuades Joel to do this work. All 3 come out from there and start moving ahead. During the day, this city looks completely different and there is a big crater. Tess tells that to prevent this infection from spreading in the world, bombs were dropped in the cities a few years back. For this reason, such pits are made in many places. From there all 3 come on a way, but the Firefly camp is on the other side. There are 2 ways in front of them. One is a short way and the other is a long way. But there is a lot of danger in a short way, so they decide to go through the long way. And then they go ahead through a bridge. Tess inquires about Ellie's wound. Ellie tells that she had to see an old mall in QZ. She had to know how it looks from the inside, so she entered it. And there a zombie attacked her and she got wounded. Tess says you have a lot of courage. Ellie tells that she is an orphan and has no one to look after her. Meantime, Those people hear the sound of zombies from nearby. Now those people move ahead silently and from there reach a closed hotel. Those people go to the other side by way of water. At some distance, the path closes. Then Tess climbs up from there and moves ahead to see the path on the other side. The two now talk and Ellie asks a lot of questions about Joel and Tess. Joel doesn't answer her and refuses to ask anything about him. Then she asks about infected zombie after. He tells that mostly they die in 1 or 2 months, but many are alive for 20 years. And he has also killed many infected zombies. Then Tess comes there and she wants to show them something. They all come up and see that there are still many infected zombies on that way. Ellie asks about them, and Tess tells that fungus also grows underground. You step on a patch of cordyceps in one place, and you can wake up a dozen infected from somewhere else. Then Ellie understands that now they have to go through the shortcut. They enter a museum on the way. In that museum, Ellie finds a wounded man who has not yet become a zombie. But zombie must have made his condition like this, they understand. That's why Joel signals them to move ahead silently. They come upstairs, but that museum is breaking down due to being old. Upstairs, they move into the room and hear the sound of a zombie there. Now they are surrounded by zombies from all sides. Then they hide and Joel tells them that they can't see but can hear. So they all have to remain silent. Then a zombie appears in front of them and Joel starts fighting with him. But bullets do not affect the body of those zombies. Joel moves ahead while hiding back. But with the sound of glass, zombie attacks him again. Then Joel kills him by shooting him in the face. Other zombies also come there, and then both Tess and Joel finish them together. Tess gets hurt in all this and Ellie also gets a wound on her hand, which is applied at the place of the previous wound. Then they move ahead through the roof. They come down from there and after traveling for a few hours, they reach the Firefly camp base. Joel looks at their truck which is empty inside. Ellie sees there that the traces of blood are going to a nearby hall. They come inside and there they find all the people of Firefly's team dead. Those people would have understood that one of them must have been infected. And he had infected the whole team. Tess starts looking for the map there and Ellie tells that Marlene said that the Firefly team was going west. Joel understands that they will get nothing here and now they should go back. But Tess refuses to back down. She says we gonna die sooner and later. I want to stay here. Ellie understands from her words that she is infected. Then she shows her wound and soon she too is going to become a zombie. Then she asks to show Ellie's wound which is now healed. Tess tells that Ellie is the only cure that can save everyone's life. I need you to get her to Bill and Frank's. I never asked you for anything. You have to do it. Then a man wakes up there as a zombie and then Joel shoots him. There the fungus from the ground controls the body of that person. And for this reason, the zombies on the other side also get up and run toward them. Joel sees them approaching. Tess starts pouring oil there to stop the zombies, and tells them both to leave from there. Both start running from there because zombie has come near. Then zombies come into that hall, and one of them senses Tess. He comes to her and does a fungal kiss, then she lights a fire with a lighter and throws it toward the oil. This thing causes a huge explosion and Ellie and Joel are very sad to see it outside. Then both of them move ahead from there. At the beginning of the episode, we see Joel who is deeply saddened by Tess's death. He then approaches Ellie but he is still angry with her, and he doesn't answer any of her questions. Ellie does not like this thing and says that Tess's death is not her fault. Because both of them wanted the battery, and they had come of their own free will. And she didn't know anything about it. Then Joel calms down a bit, and they both go ahead after telling her that he has to go to another place. And a long journey begins for both of them. He tells that there are other people like him out there. Ellie asks about his shooting target, and then he reveals that his aim is not perfect. Ellie also wants a gun but every time he refuses it. Then both reach a deserted house at Cumberland Farms, and ask her to pick up whatever useful items they find there. Ellie finds a video game there, about which she knows everything but it is not working now. Ellie goes to another room, where a zombie is seen trapped in a bunker below. Then she goes near him. She sees his changes by putting a cut on his forehead and then kills him there. She comes upstairs and shows the food, but Joel does not find any other weapons there. Then they both move ahead from there. On the way, they see a crashed plane. Ellie asks, "Have you ever sat in a plane?" He says yes, and they used to be very expensive. Ellie has never sat in a plane, so according to her, flying in the sky is the biggest thing. She now asks him about how the virus spread. He tells no one knows for sure, but best guess cordyceps mutated and some of it got into the food supply. Probably a basic ingredient like flour or sugar. Then this virus spread all over the world. On the way, both see the remains of many dead people. Joel tells that those people were alive and not infected. About a week after Outbreak Day, soldiers went through the countryside evacuating the small towns. Told you were going to accuse E, and you were if there was room. And if not, they were killed. Ellie does not understand the reason why they were killed if they are not infected. He says dead people can't be infected. Now the story is seen in 2003. Federal people are evacuating all the people from a city. There the houses are checked and sealed. A man keeps an eye on those people from the bunker of his house, because he does not want to go with them. All the people leave the city. That man Bill is very happy and there are many weapons in his bunker. He comes out of the house and does not find anyone there. He is happy to see the whole city empty, and he always hates the world. He roams around the city with his car and brings food, gas, and all useful things to his home. Then after laying siege outside the city, he starts laying other traps, so that no one can come to his city. He also prepares his food by farming, and Bill starts spending his life by eating it. One day an infected zombie moves toward his siege, and he is killed by getting trapped in the trap laid by him. He is happy to see this. After 4 years, he has completely upgraded himself. He keeps everything upgraded so that he will be always safe. Then one day someone gets trapped, and then Bill goes to kill him. In that pit, he finds a man named Frank. He tells that he is not infected, and those 10 people ran away in which he is the only one left. He has not infected when Bill checks, and then he brings him up. Frank is very hungry, but he refuses to give him anything. But he requests to help a little, and then he agrees. Bill brings him to his house, and after some time he gets ready after taking a bath, and starts looking at the things in the house. Bill would have prepared food for him, and both would sit and eat together. He praises her cooking, and they both have a drink. He is much more impressed by Bill's entire arrangement. He thanks him after having food. He wants to play Bill's piano once before leaving. He tells that it belongs to his mother. Then there Frank starts singing by playing that piano, which he doesn't like at all, and he gets a little angry. Frank asks him to sing as well, and then Bill sings about his loneliness while playing the piano there. Frank understood that he is quite alone. He praises him, and both kiss. Both of them come very close after coming to bed. After 3 years in 2010, both would have been fighting because the style of living life of both is very different. Bill likes to be alone, but Frank is bored of being alone. He wants to repair and paint some shops and houses in the vicinity. He wants to invite the lady he is talking to on the radio over there for dinner. Bill agrees because of his love. A few days later, they are having lunch with Joel and Tess. Bill still keeps his gun with him because he doesn't trust anyone. Tess admires their home, and then Frank takes her to show the house. But Bill doesn't seem happy about this. Joel says that he understands because he too is not quick to trust anyone. Those people only talk on the radio, and because of this, it is very difficult to trust them. Then he praises his security, and suggests him to use aluminum wire on the siege to make it better. After some time, Frank and Tess leave from there and plan to smuggle together. Those people try to talk in quotes on the radio. We saw about this in episode 1 as well. Joel tells that Federal soldiers can come there at any time. He will have to take care of security because they will have all kinds of weapons. Bill says we will be fine, then both leave from there. 3 years later in 2013, Frank shows him the strawberries he has grown. He has taken its seeds from Joel in exchange for a gun from Bill. Both of them would be happy after eating it, and they both take care of each other. Bill tells I was never afraid before you showed up. Then he kisses him. After some years, some people come there on a rainy night. They start burning after getting stuck in the things near the siege. Seeing this, Frank comes out with a gun and Bill is shooting those people outside. Those people cannot come ahead of the siege, and he sees that Bill has been injured. He brings him inside and sees that he has been shot. Bill thinks he is about to die now, so he informs him about all the keys and tells him to stay with Joel so that he doesn't feel alone. Frank says that nothing will happen to him and starts treating Bill. Then we get to see the story of a few days before the year 2023 present. Frank is in a wheelchair due to old age and Bill takes care of him. Similarly, both are spending their lives alone together. He is not happy with his condition and Bill keeps on watering his plants. When both of them have dinner together, Frank can't even open his pills wrapper by himself, then Bill helps him. At night both come to bed and sleep. The next day Bill wakes up and there Frank is sitting in his wheelchair. He was exhausted from his condition so he woke up. Bill is annoyed by this thing, because his feet must have been in pain, due to him getting up on his own. Frank says that it doesn't matter to him, because today is his last day. Then they both talk about it. He tells that he has made up his mind. And Bill gets angry about this. He says that he has always been happy with his presence, and wants to celebrate today as well. He wants to marry him today, and asks if Bill still loves him. Bill starts crying and says yes. They both proceed from there and get married after coming to one of their shops. Frank would have prepared dinner for him at night. Both eat food and drink together. Then after all is over, Bill brings drinks. He mixes a lot of drugs in Frank's wine so that he can die by overdose. Then he drinks it, and Bill also drinks his drink. Frank understands that Bill had also mixed drugs in it. He says that he cannot live alone. Both laugh and then move toward their beds. In the present day, we see Joel and Ellie outside the siege. He comes inside by entering the code. And he understands things by seeing the flowers withering outside the house. The door is not locked there. They come inside. And Joel starts looking in the whole house but there is no one there. When he comes out, Ellie is sitting with a letter. That letter is written by Bill for Joel, which Ellie reads. It is written in it that this letter had been written on August 29th, 2023. In this, Bill has forbidden Joel to come up, and he has left the windows there open, so that their body odor does not spread throughout the whole house. Bill knows that no one can get in except Joel through the siege, and if he has come, then he can use their goods. Bill never liked Joel, but they were like friends. I used to hate the world, and I was happy when everyone died. But I was wrong because there was one person worth saving. That's why he saved his love Frank till death. I leave all of my weapons and equipment so you can protect Tess. Now he comes out of the house with that letter, and he is very sad. Along with that letter, he also gets a key. He gets Bill's car in the garage and charges its battery. Then he comes to Ellie and checks her hand, which is still fine even after being slightly infected. He tells that he got the car. I have a brother out in Wyoming. He's in some kind of trouble, and I'm heading out there to find him. He works for Firefly. Those people can help her to reach the lab. He says if you want to come along with me then you have to follow my rules. Ellie doesn't have to tell anyone anything about herself, and has to do as he says. Then both come to the bunker, and there are many weapons and equipment. Ellie calls Bill a genius and radio signals can still be sent from there. Ellie wanted a weapon, but he forbade her. Now they start taking the things they need from home. There is also hot water there. Then she asks him to take a bath, and she also goes to take a bath. Then she gets ready upstairs where she gets a gun along with household items. She hides it in her bag. Joel comes there and asks her to come along. Both sit in the car and it is Ellie's first experience, and she is very happy. He put her on the seat belt, and both of them left by opening the gate of that siege. And the scene of their departure ends through Bill's bedroom. At the beginning of the episode, we see that Ellie and Joel are stopped at the gas station. Joel is outside draining the petrol out of the wrecked vehicles while Ellie is in the washroom. In episode 3, we saw that Ellie had stolen the gun from Frank's room. She practices with the same gun now. She comes to Joel and shows him no pun intended book, and she likes it very much. After this, both of them leave for Wyoming. Ellie finds an old cassette inside the truck and asks to play it. This is the same song that was playing in episode 1 as well. Ellie finds a magazine in the truck too. That magazine was not for children, so he asks to throw it. She pretends to read that magazine but she is kidding. Then she throws that magazine by opening the window. It's evening and driving at night will not be safe. So Joel stops the car by going inside the woods and will stay here tonight. He cooks the cans of food that he had brought from Bill's house. Ellie asks to light the fire as she is feeling cold, but Joel refuses. Because infected humans are not as smart as humans. But apart from them, bad people are also roaming here. Those who do not just come with the intention of robbing, but have worse in their mind. After having food, both prepare to sleep. Ellie asks him a question from the book: why did the Scarecrow get an award? He answers this because he was outstanding in his field. Ellie laughs as he too has read that joke book. We also see Joel guarding the night many times. He makes coffee for himself in the morning, the smell of which Ellie does not like at all. He says that Bill has kept the coffee in much better condition, and in Fedra even worse coffee is supplied. Joel's next plan is to find his brother Tommy. The last contact came through a radio tower close to Cody. If he is not there, he will be around Wyoming City, and he will be looking for his brother. Ellie asks him about Tommy, but he says that it's a long story. She says that this journey is very long and there is no shortage of time, so she can comfortably listen to his long story. He tells that Tommy's what we used to call a joiner, dreams of becoming a hero. So he enlisted in the army right out of high school. A few months later, they ship him off to Desert Storm. Being in the army didn't make him feel much like a hero. He convinces me to join a group making their way up to Boston, which I did mostly to keep an eye on him, keep him alive. It's where we met Tess. And then he meets Marlene. She tells him into joining the Fireflies. The same mistake he made when he was 18. Last I heard he quit the Fireflies too. Ellie says it means you do not see any hope that the world can be saved again. Then why are you bothering? He says that you have not seen the world, so you will not understand it. I have to do all this just for my family, and I am with you because I promised Tess. Tess was also my family. I think you got up early in the morning, so if you want you can rest. Ellie says she is not tired, but after a while we see her sleeping. The underpass through which he had to go is blocked, so he takes another route. Just then an injured person is seen in front of his vehicle. Ellie asks if we'll help him, but Joel knows it's a trap. He asks her to fasten her seatbelt and starts driving fast. Someone throws stones from above, and nails have been laid on the road ahead. Due to this, the balance of the vehicle deteriorates, and the vehicle has an accident. Those people keep firing on them. Then Joel sees that there is a passage in the wall to go to the other side. He asks Ellie to hide over there. He shoots a man. After that he changes his place. When everything was quiet, it seemed that their people had died. But a boy attacks Joel from behind. Ellie first takes out her knife to save him, but she thinks it is right to take the gun in place of the knife. She goes out and shoots that boy. Joel sees that she has a gun, so he takes the gun from her. The boy tells him his name is Brian, and he does not want to fight anymore. He needs their help. His mom is nearby, so take him there. Joel knows it's all an act, so he asks Ellie to go inside, and then he kills him. After a while, more of those people's companions also come there. They run away from here, hiding from them. On the other side, the hunter's leader Kathleen is shown. She is asking her doctor questions. She speaks the names of those people because of whom her brother was killed. But the doctor doesn't know anybody. She asks, "You know where Henry is?" The doctor says that whatever you are doing is wrong, and he has no idea where Henry is. Kathleen is called out because her men have been killed. She tells her people that this will be the work of Henry. Maybe Henry sent those people here. Those who have done all this, find them and kill them. After this, she goes and kills the doctor as well. Here we see Joel and Ellie. They are waiting for the route to be cleared. He tells Ellie that it's all his fault. Because of him, she took someone's life. And at this age, she should not do all this. Ellie says this is not her first time. He understands her words and teaches her the right way to hold the gun. And allow her to keep a gun, but she has to use it only when there is trouble. After that, both of them secretly leave here and reach a building that has 45 floors. Ellie asks, "How did you know it was a trap?" He says that he has lived on both sides and his team has also done a lot for survival. She asks, "Have you ever killed innocent people as well?" But he does not give any answer to this. Then Kathleen is brought over to be shown a place by her men, where Henry stopped. She says, "I can feel that he is around." He then takes her to the basement. We see that the flooring there has caved in as there is a bloaters under it. Looking at it, it looks like he can come out anytime. But here she has her own issues. She says that we will solve this matter later. Our first priority is Henry. Seal this place for the time being and don't tell anything to your people. Bloaters are the fourth, rarest, and most dangerous stage of the infected in The Last of Us and The Last of Us Part 2. They take years to develop and reach this stage, after years of exposure to the cordyceps brain infection. Joel and Ellie reach a room and decide to stay here tonight. He puts pieces of glass in front of the door and also on the floor, so that if someone comes here while sleeping, he will come to know. But Ellie says, I've noticed you listen less than the right site, so I don't think there would be any benefit to doing it. Joel asks her that you said it is not your first time, what does it mean? But she refuses to talk about it. We also know that this will not be her first time, as she has attacked people many times. Joel is feeling bad as she is dealing with all these things in her teenage. After that, both of them fall asleep. Ellie wakes up Joel, and when he wakes up, there are two people in front of him, and he is at his gunpoint. These two are Henry and Sam. At the beginning of episode 5, we are shown a scene from the past, where inside a city we see some people who stand against Fedra, and they're trying to kill every single one of Fedra's men. All the people of Fedra are killed. Here there are also those people who are called collaborators. They are against the local people here. Here we see Henry and Sam. Sam is a deaf mute, so Henry explains to him with sign language. The collaborators have been caught by Kathleen. She wants to know from them where Henry is, but none of them tell anything. She orders Perry to get them all killed. Then a man tells that Henry is with Dr. Edelstein. We didn't see him after that, and he was hiding in a building. But still, Kathleen orders to kill and burn all of them. She single-handedly rules Kansas City, and she's against Fedra. That's why its people together killed Fedra's people. Kathleen orders her men to find Henry and Sam and bring them, but Perry says that we will find out the next morning. Henry and Sam also reach a building while saving themselves. They meet Dr. Edelstein, and he brings them to an attic. Henry and Sam also have a lot of food. Edelstein says that those people will not be able to find you here, and I will also keep coming to you from time to time and giving you food. By then you have food left for 11 days. He says to talk to your brother. He looks scared. Then Henry goes and explains to Sam that there is no need to be afraid. We are absolutely safe here. Sam is very fond of painting and writing. That's why he makes a lot of paintings on the walls for the next 10 days. After 10 days their food gets over and even the doctor did not come to them. Sam is extremely hungry. Henry learns that Edelstein was killed by Kathleen, and that's why they have to get out of there. Then he takes his brother and leaves from there. But before both of them go out of the building, they hear some gunshots. Kathleen's men are shooting at someone. It happens to be Joel, and this is the same scene that was shown to us in episode 4. Joel kills these two men and Henry continues to watch it all. That's why Henry changes his plan and goes to a building as soon as night falls. They don't know that someone is already in the building. But still, these people reach the upper part of the building. But here they see glass scattered in front of the door. Henry hands a gun to Sam and tells him to be careful. Then they slowly reach Joel and Ellie by steps over the glass, and take both of them at gunpoint. In this way, this story comes back to the present. Henry says, we will not harm you. You believe us, we both can help each other. Then Joel agrees to him, and that's why Henry and Sam do nothing to both of them. Sam is hungry, that's why Joel and Ellie give them food. Ellie tells that this food was brought from Bill, but he is dead. Ellie and Joel tell about themselves. Henry tells about his younger brother Sam. A little trust starts to grow between them, and they understand they are not a threat. Henry said that I know the way out, so I can help you. The next morning, Henry brings them to the roof of the building. He tells that 10 days back Fedra's people were here, but Kathleen's team kills them all. Joel asks then, who are you? He tells that I am a collaborator. Joel says that I do not work with collaborators, but he says you will need me to get out because I know every inch of this city. They look at Ellie and Sam, who are looking very happy. Henry says that he has seen Sam happy after many days. Then Henry tells Joel about his plan to get out of the city, and explains how many guards are deployed. His plan is that they will leave from inside the city tunnel. Joel asks that there will be no clickers inside the tunnel. Henry tells no, although Kathleen and her team think that this tunnel is full of clickers. A Fedra guy that I worked with told me they cleared it out. And this thing is about 3 years back. Even if there are 1 or 2 clickers, you can handle them too. With the help of a tunnel, we will move from one place to another, and we will be free after going to the other side of the river. Then Joel agrees to this plan, and all 4 of them come to a mall, where they come to the basement and find a place where there are many paintings. They enter a room which is a huge hall, where there is stuff for small children. There are many paintings. House rules are also written on the board. Joel knows people went underground after Outbreak Day and they make arrangements like this. Ellie wants to rest, so they decide to stay here for a while. She is happy to be with Sam. Sam cannot speak, so whatever he wants to say, he writes. Joel asks why everyone is after you and why are you hiding. Henry tells that he has killed Kathleen's brother Michael. He was a brave man. That's why she wants to kill me. After resting for a while, Joel decides to get out of there. And they start going ahead through the tunnel. Kathleen visits her childhood home in memory of her brother. Perry reaches there. She asks, "How did you know that I will meet here?" He says, "I went to your mother, and she told me." Kathleen begins to talk about Michael, and how she used to be with him as a child. Perry assures her that they will take revenge for her brother. "We all loved Michael." He tells that we have looked everywhere, but there is no trace of Henry. And the people who have come from outside were also not detected. Now they come out of the way of the tunnel. Henry says that now we just have to cross the river, then we will leave from here. But on the way, someone fires at them from a house. They hide behind a car. They do not understand who is firing at them. Then Joel decides to go to that house and ask them to stay there. Then he enters this house while hiding. On coming upstairs, he sees an old man sitting at the window, and he is the one firing on them. This old man's name is Anthony. But when he turns to kill Joel, he shoots him. He also learns that Anthony has told everything to Kathleen before dying. Now Kathleen's people are about to come here, so Joel tells them to run away. Henry, Sam, and Ellie run for their lives. Till then Kathleen's team arrives here. One of them has a truck that he is about to run over Ellie. But Joel shoots the truck driver with a sniper, and this truck crashes into a house. Then there is a blast in that truck. Until then Ellie, Sam, and Henry hide behind a car. Kathleen asks Henry to come out. Henry, hiding behind the car, says, "I will come out, but you have to let Sam go." Kathleen says, "I will not let the child go. I will kill both of you." Henry then comes out and she points a gun at him. The house where the truck blast took place was actually above the tunnel. Because of this, the tunnel breaks, and the truck gets buried in it. Then many clickers come out of this tunnel, and there is chaos here. Kathleen's people also shoot at them, but nothing happens to this clicker. Henry and Sam run away and hide under the car. To save her life, Ellie hides in a car. But a clicker enters the same vehicle. So she gets out of the car and helps Henry and Sam, and takes both of them out of here. Then a huge bloater emerges from that tunnel. Perry shoots at him, but nothing happens to this bloater. Then Perry tells Kathleen to run away. That bloater kills Perry. Ellie rescues them and brings them from there, but Kathleen is right there, who takes Henry at gunpoint again. But by then a clicker comes behind Kathleen and kills her. Then all four of them run away from here. Even after they leave, many clickers come out of the tunnel, who had been living here for many years. All four run away and reach a safe place. Joel tells that he will go to Wyoming to find his brother. "You can come if you want." Henry says, "Okay, I will tell Sam about this tomorrow morning." Ellie is reading a comic book to Sam. She is teaching him a lot of things. Sam writes, "Are you even scared?" Ellie tells that, "I am always scared." He asks, "If you turn into a monster, is it you still inside?" He then shows Ellie his leg, which has been bitten by a clicker. Ellie convinces him that there is no need to be afraid. "My blood is medicine." Then she cuts her hand and applies her blood to Sam's wound so that Sam gets cured. She hugs Sam and consoles him that nothing will happen to him. The next day, when Ellie wakes up, she finds that Sam hasn't slept all night. He is sitting on one edge of the bed. When she goes and sees him, Sam becomes completely infected and attacks Ellie. Joel and Henry come to know that Sam has been infected. Henry shot him with his own hands. The moment Henry pulled the trigger, he realized that he wouldn't be able to live with the regret of not being able to save his brother. He knew that grief would eventually swallow him, and there was no concrete reason for him to live any further. Protecting his brother gave a purpose to his life, and whatever he had done, whatever ideals he had stuck to, whoever he had betrayed, it was all because he wanted to save that ray of sunshine. Sam's death broke the illusion that he so desperately wanted to keep intact, and it lifted the veil and made him see life through a more pragmatic lens. He didn't like what he saw, and he ended his life. At the end of the 5th episode, Ellie realized how vulnerable and fragile life was. There was a point in her life where she felt invincible, but now she saw things the way they were. The incident shattered any delusions she had, and it dealt yet another blow to her innocence, which Joel had tried to save with all his might. Ellie and Joel commenced their journey once again and left for Wyoming, but they involuntarily left behind a part of themselves in Kansas City itself, and with it, probably the hope of having a better future.
At the beginning of the episode, we learn that 3 months have passed since Joel and Ellie left Kansas City. Now we are shown a snowy place where already a couple lives. Marlene is bringing back some rabbits from the hunt. But he finds some unwanted guests. It happens to be Joel. He takes Marlene to gunpoint and asks where are they. He says that you have a map, yet you have gone astray. Joel asks for the exact location. And if he tells the wrong location, he will shoot his wife. He tells Joel the exact location. He used to say that I have to go towards the west. Marlene says that there is a river on the west side, which is known to be the River of Death. On the other side of it, Clicker exists. Joel tells that I have to find my brother. Have you heard of fireflies? The couple starts laughing on hearing the name of firefly people. They don't know anything about it, they live here alone. That's why Joel and Ellie leave. But soon after he is having pain in his chest. He tells it's because of the cold. Then they move ahead. On the way, they also find a river. It's about to get dark, so they stop and light a fire. Ellie is looking at the aurora. Ellie asks Joel for a sip after seeing him drinking, which makes her feel warm. She asks, let's say we find the fireflies, it all works, they draw my blood and put it through in their machines and make a cure. What will happen after that? What will you do and where will you go? He replies that he would like to own a sheep ranch and settle for a calm, quiet life. He asks Ellie, what's your dream? Then she looks at the moon and tells some names of astronauts, which she learned at school. She wants to be an astronaut. Ellie now tells Joel about her attempt to save Sam, and Joel's reply is that it is simply too late to think about such possibilities now. But it is clear that Joel, too, has had this doubt in his mind, and yet he does not want to think about it, both for Ellie's sake as well as his own. He guards her by telling her to sleep. Ellie wakes up before him in the morning. Joel was mumbling in his sleep. Instead of keeping watch, he fell asleep because he was very tired. Now they reach the Death of River. Crossing the bridge, they reach the other side of the river. In this deserted area, they keep moving forward for a long time. Coming to this side of the river, they also find a dam, which is working and electricity is being made from it. But the surprising thing is that no one is here. Only then do some horse riders come and surround them. A man asks Joel to put down his rifle and tells Ellie to take 5 steps back. They inform if either of you gets infected, then this dog will bite you. First, he checks Joel but he smells him and comes straight to Ellie. Ellie gets scared, then she starts playing with this dog. Now they are sure about them being not infected. Joel tells he is looking for his brother. Then a woman comes forward and asks his name. Then these people bring them along with them. This place is huge where many people live. Soon he sees his brother Tommy and calls him. Tommy runs towards his brother and hugs him. Finally, Joel's hard work of so many days is successful, he found his brother. Tommy asks, what are you doing here? He tells he has reached here in search of him. Then Tommy feeds them. Tommy is accompanied by another girl named Maria. After a long time, they have eaten fresh food. A girl secretly stares at Ellie. Ellie asks, why is that girl looking at me like this? Maria says she is just curious, kids around here usually don't look or talk like you. Ellie says that it is good, I will teach them all. She asks for her gun back. Maria tells that no one keeps a gun here. Joel wants to talk to Tommy one-on-one. So he asks Maria to leave from here. But Tommy says that Maria is his family, that is, both of them are married. Then Tommy and Maria give them a tour of the place. Maria tells that we settled here 7 years ago and today we have everything. We also teach children and electricity is also made here. We all work together and there is no leader. Maria tells Tommy that both of you talk, I take Ellie with me. Then Joel and Tommy come to a bar to chat. Tommy asks about Tess but he lies, saying she's fine. Then he asks where are fireflies. He tells that they got a base down at the University of Eastern Colorado. It's a week's ride south. Joel asks if we can go to Colorado from here. He says that I will not be able to go, there are infected people. Then Joel says that perhaps it was Maria who took you away from me. And that's probably why you didn't contact me on the radio. He says that these people are good. When I left Firefly, Maria and her people saved me. Tommy tells that he is going to be a father. Joel says okay, then tomorrow morning we will leave from here. When he comes out, his heart starts hurting again. Here he watches some children, and in these children, he also sees a girl who looks like Sarah. When Ellie comes out after taking a bath, she finds a note written on her clothes saying I am across the street. Ellie goes to Maria's house wearing new clothes. She reads the names of 2 dead children in which Kevin and Sarah are written. Maria also comes and she trims Ellie's hair. She inquires about Kevin and Sarah. Maria reveals that Kevin was her son but Sarah was Joel's daughter. And she asks not to trust anybody. Then she takes Ellie to the movie show. Tommy approaches Joel and gives him boots for the onward journey. He apologizes to his brother and says I should not have talked to you like this. Does Joel ask if this ride to the university is a suicide mission? Tommy says it's dangerous but you can handle it. Then Joel tells him everything, that Ellie is immune. She was also bitten by the clicker but she did not get ill. Joel tells him the whole story from the beginning, that Marlene hired them to smuggle her to some fireflies. But on the way, Tess got infected and he lost her. She made him swear to take the kid. It was her dying wish what he supposes to do. She saved his life in Kansas City. He saw a man kill his own brother to save her, while I just watched. You think I can handle things but I can't. Now he has become weak and there is a lot of nervousness. His heart feels like it stopped. He has dreams every day that he cannot remember. He just knows that when he wakes up he has lost something. Joel fears that Ellie will be killed if she stays with him. Tommy says that you want me to take her. Joel says here's your chance to bring your kid into a better world. You are also younger and stronger than me, you should take her. Also says that you can't tell anyone, not even Maria. If anyone else sees those bites on her, what's under her skin, they will shoot her. That's why I have told you this after believing it. This is the last thing I am asking from you. Joel gets up from there and goes to Ellie. She is reading a diary. She says, what are you doing here? You want to get rid of me? Actually, Ellie had heard all his talk. Joel tells that he made this decision for her own good. She'll be way better off with Tommy. He knows the area better than I do. Ellie asks, what are you so afraid of? I'm not Sarah, Maria told me about Sarah. Then Joel stops her in the middle and says please don't talk about her. Ellie speaks, I am sorry about your daughter, I have lost people too. He says you have no idea what loss is. She says everybody I have cared for has either died or left me except for you. So now you tell me how can I be safe with others? Then Joel says that you are right, that you are not my daughter and neither am I your father. Tomorrow morning we are going our separate ways. Then he comes to his room and starts thinking. He also misses his daughter, Sarah, and how he celebrated Christmas with his daughter. In the morning, Ellie packs her bags and gets ready. Tommy comes to pick her up, then they both go to one of the stables. Where Joel is already there. Ellie says you have come to say goodbye to me. He says no, I have come here to steal horses. Joel gives her the option with whom she would like to go. Ellie will go with Joel. Then Joel leaves for Colorado after saying goodbye to his brother. Joel and Ellie traveled for 7 days. They reach Colorado but this whole city is deserted. Ellie asks where are the fireflies? Joel says that maybe they will be in the middle of the city. But in this city, these two get nothing but monkeys. Then they go to the biomedical science building. They tie the horse to a place and go inside the building. The things are scattered and there is no trace of any living person. But only then do they hear some noises. When they go upstairs and find the scatter has been done by monkeys. There is no clicker here. There they notice a map in which the new location of fireflies is Salt Lake City. Looking out of the window, Joel watches 4 people coming towards them. He says that we have to get out of here, then both of them secretly go to the horse. But then a man comes from behind and attacks Joel. He kills him by breaking his neck. But before dying, he had stabbed a baseball handle inside Joel. Because of that, Joel is bleeding profusely. And now his 3 companions also coming towards them. Joel and Ellie escape from here, but Joel falls unconscious as soon as he comes out of the city. Ellie tries her best to wake him up, but Joel's eyes are closed.
At the beginning of episode 7, we learn Joel is still alive. Ellie brings him to an abandoned house so that she can treat him. But Joel says that she should go north to Tommy. Ellie reluctantly starts leaving here. But the moment she opens the door, she remembers her past. Ellie was running in the Fedra school. There are other girls too. Bethany snatches her headphones and asks her to pick up her pace, otherwise she has to run double because of her shitty attitude. Ellie doesn't want to fight. But she says, "You don't know how to fight, your friend used to know, but now she is not here." Ellie gets angry and punches her in the face. Ellie is taken to the officer. Captain Quang tells Bethany's in the infirmary with 15 stitches. "There is no use in punishing you because we have punished you many times. 2 paths ahead of you. The first path, you keep acting like a grunt. Up at dawn. Walk the streets, walk the wall. Take shit orders from your patrol leader, who will probably be Bethany. There's the other path, you swallow this pride of yours. You follow the rules and become an officer." He tells her she had the potential to have a successful career inside the army. Fedra had great expectations from Ellie, and they saw a future leader in her who would accomplish great things. Ellie chooses the second path. Before leaving, she asks for her Walkman back. Ellie comes to her room. She reads Savage Starlight comics. After Ellie had fallen asleep, someone entered her room through the window, a couple of hours after midnight. Ellie sensed that and took her knife and pounced upon the intruder. She was shocked to find that it was Riley who had come back. Riley had been missing for 3 weeks, and nobody knew where she had run away. It wasn't the first time that Riley had secretly snuck out, but she'd never been gone for so long. Ellie was mad at her for leaving her behind without informing her. Riley had always been Ellie's protector, and when she saw that her face was bruised, she got agitated and asked her who was behind it. Ellie told her that it was Bethany who had tried to bully her, but she had taken care of the matter herself. Riley reveals that she has joined the Fireflies. Riley promised her best friend that she would tell her everything, in exchange for sneaking out with her and doing what she asked. Ellie refuses at first, but at Riley's insistence, she goes with her. On the way, they see Fedra soldiers patrolling, but they hide from them. While leaving, they talk and remember their old days. There was a time in Riley's life when she used to be an angry young woman who would beat people up when they tried to mess with her, but after joining the Fireflies, her sensibilities changed. She realized that she couldn't fight everything everywhere and would have to choose her battles. While talking, they both reach a building. They have to reach the roof of this building, but on the way, they find a dead body of a man. Riley says that when she came earlier, this man was not there. Ellie looked carefully at the dead body. This guy also has a bottle of wine. Ellie asks where they get liquor. This guy has some drugs as well. They think that maybe he died because of an overdose. Suddenly the floor breaks and this man falls down. Then they reach the terrace where they drink. Ellie asks, "Have you seen any dead bodies before?" She tells that, "I have seen my parents' bodies." Ellie looks at her gun by touching it. She asks how you joined them. Riley told that one day when the latter was serving her punishment for something she had done at school, she snuck out alone and met a woman who was probably in her 50s. That woman was Marlene, the leader of the Firefly group. Marlene was fascinated by this non-conforming Fedra student, which was a rarity. Then she included me in Firefly. Riley takes Ellie by jumping from one roof to another. After crossing many rooftops in this way, she comes in front of them all. Riley tells she has kept a surprise for her. Ellie says it's full of infected. She says that there is nothing like that, believe me. They come inside this mall. Riley tells her to go in first. When she goes inside, there is light everywhere, and the whole mall starts shining. She is seeing all this for the first time. Riley tells this is the beginning, I have more surprises for you. Ellie has never seen the escalator. She is very happy to see these things. She is having fun here. Riley is about to give another surprise to her. That's why she brings her to a place by closing her eyes. When Ellie opens her eyes, she sees Carousel. Ellie takes great pleasure in sitting on these horses. She is overjoyed. She has never seen anything better than this in her life. Riley tells she will be 17 in a few days. Then she gets her first assignment. Later they move towards another surprise, where they get themselves photographed by putting in $5. Ellie is very happy with this thing. Next, she brings her to the arcade. Ellie becomes even happier after seeing this place. They play the Mortal Kombat 2 game by inserting coins. Ellie has never been happier in her life than before. When they are playing, there is a clicker at some distance from them, and he comes to his senses after hearing them. But Ellie and Riley are unaware of this and are engrossed in their game. Ellie wants to go back or else she'll be late, and she'll come and meet her tomorrow. Riley says, "I have kept a gift for you." Ellie likes gifts, so she agrees and goes ahead with her. Riley brings her where she lives. "Fireflies have imposed my duty here." She shows her no pun intended volume 2. She got surprised to watch second edition of this book, as well as they both read this book together. Ellie explores the place, only then she finds grenades. Ellie asks, "Did you make them so that you can kill the soldiers?" "You didn't find this mall, you have been posted here." Riley says, "We would never use them on you or anywhere ever near you. I will never let this happen." Ellie says, "What do you think they will listen to you?" Ellie gets annoyed and leaves. Riley tries to stop her, saying that today is my last night in Boston. They are posting me in Atlanta QZ. She wanted to take her with her, but Marlene refused. Does Ellie ask why you brought me here? She says that I wanted to say goodbye to you and wanted to see you for the last time. Then Ellie leaves saying goodbye. She gets very angry. But after coming out, she realizes that she shouldn't leave her friend alone. That's why she goes inside the mall again. Then she hears someone scream. When Ellie goes near and sees it, it's a scary doll, which is kept by Riley as fifth surprise. Riley says she wanted to show her this at the very end. Ellie asks for the no pun intended book and puts it in the bag. Ellie wants to spend time with her best friend again. Ellie says, "I thought you were dead, but you suddenly appeared and now you are leaving me back. This night is amazing for me." She asks, "Have you really made up your mind that you are leaving all this?" Riley says, "You don't know what it was like to have a family. I want a family again. Firefly may not be what I think they are, but they chose me because I matter to them." Ellie says, "But you are the first thing that matters to me. And because of this, I am getting angry with you. But still, you will be my best friend and I will miss you a lot." Riley says the night is not over yet. We have to do one last thing. She has also stolen Ellie's Walkman and connects it to the speaker. They start dancing wearing masks. In this way, both of them keep dancing here for a long time. Meanwhile, they come close to each other. Ellie says, "Please don't go," and she kisses her. But then the clicker comes. Riley shoots at him, but nothing happens to the clicker. Now he attacks them. Riley faints from the clicker attack. Ellie then faces off against Clicker alone. This clicker is about to bite Ellie, but Riley comes to the rescue. Ellie stabs Clicker in the head, and he dies instantly. But Ellie is bitten by Clicker as well as Riley. Both of them become sad because of this thing, as if their world has ended. Then they both sit in a place. Riley says we have two options. Firstly, we should shoot ourselves so that we die easily. And second, that we should do nothing. We just keep going. It will end this way sooner or later. We will not give up. Why not stay alive together as long as we are alive? Ellie asks if there is option 3 as well. Riley says no. Then they start crying and hug each other. Next, the scene shifts to the present. Ellie stood at the door thinking all this, and now she decides not to go to Tommy. To help Joel, she starts investigating here, so that she gets something that can heal Joel's wound. She gets a needle and thread and she comes to Joel and sees his wound. She cleans it and stitches his wound. Joel also holds Ellie's hand. At the beginning of the episode, we see some people in a resort. They call that place Silver Lake. The narration of Revelation 21 from the New Testament of the Bible, which introduces us to the person Pastor David giving this sermon, around whom the episode revolves. Their girl Hannah starts crying. Then David comes and takes care of her, and tells death is not in anyone's hands. Actually, Hannah's father Alec had died recently, and she asked David if they could give him a proper burial. David looked towards his right-hand man, James, as if to buy more time to formulate the lie inside his head. He told Hannah that they would have to wait for the spring to arrive and the temperatures to go a bit higher, and only then could they bury her father. It was at this moment that we realized that something suspicious was happening in their settlement. Then David talks to James. He tells that there is a shortage of food and only 1 week's food is left. But 2 of his men have seen a huge deer on the other side. David tells him to bring guns, they gonna hunt the deer. Next, Ellie sees Joel's wound, which is rotting due to the non-availability of medicines. Ellie has nothing to eat now. That's why she moves towards the woods to hunt with a rifle. She finds a rabbit, at which she takes aim, but he escapes. On going ahead, she finds a deer. Ellie takes position and shoots. But the deer runs away from there in an injured condition. But he goes ahead and dies. David and James found that deer and want to take it with them. Ellie came from behind and asked them to put their weapon down. She threatens them to leave. David talks to Ellie and tells her that he is a preacher and they have a big group. Those people are short of food and they want this deer. In return, he can give her anything. Ellie can't take the deer alone, so he asks her to take half the deer. She asks for medicine, then David asks James to bring penicillin. She empties his rifle and has plenty of time. Ellie and David sit at a nearby place with the deer. They talk, but Ellie does not tell anything about herself. David asks her to trust him. He tells about his entire group and the people who follow him. Earlier they were in Pittsburgh. He was a teacher, but after the Pittsburgh QZ fell in 17, they wandered, saving their life, and finally reach here. Ellie says your luck had to run out sooner or later. David tells that there is no such thing as luck. He believes everything happens for a reason. Then he tells 4 of his men had gone to the city a few days back and one of them was killed. He had a daughter just like you. The crazy man who killed him was accompanied by a little girl. Ellie learns that the man who injured Joel is dead and was from David's group. From behind, James takes Ellie to gunpoint. But at the behest of David, he lowers the gun and also gives medicine to Ellie. She runs away with the medicine. James doesn't like the idea of leaving her. Ellie reaches over to Joel and injects penicillin into his wound. She takes care of him and sleeps with him. In resort, Hannah's mother asked the man what kind of meat it was, when he came with a tray of human flesh. That man stared at the woman as if he wanted to tell her the truth, through his piercing eyes, but he says venison. The woman also understood that it is human flesh, but she didn't say anything and proceeded to clean it. Now, it could have been possible that they ate it because of their fear of David and because they didn't want to question him. But we also feel that they ate it, so that they didn't have to starve to death. They bring dead deer, but the group is angry instead of happy. David learns that James has told everyone about Ellie. He tells the rumors you heard are true. When the sun rises, I will lead a group out to pick up her trail. Hannah says he should have killed Ellie when he got the chance. David slaps her and says that if she thinks she doesn't have a father anymore. But she always has a father, and she has to show respect when he is speaking. Then David prays with everyone and they eat the food. The next day, Ellie sees that Joel's condition has still not recovered. But his wounds are getting better, so she injects more penicillin. She comes out and feeds her horse. The birds are seen flying there, and Ellie understands that someone has come there. She moves ahead to check. Then she finds David and his men. David wants Ellie alive, but his men don't like this thing. Ellie returns and gives Joel a knife and tells him some men are coming for us. She will lead them away from him, but if anybody makes it down here, you kill them. But in a state of unconsciousness, he does not understand. She runs away from there and also shoots at them. They follow her and James shoots the horse. Ellie falls unconscious. They all surround her and they are about to shoot her. But David stops them by firing from behind. Then he steps forward and takes Ellie with him. The rest of the people search the nearby houses. A man enters Joel's house and Joel hears his voice below. He comes down looking for Joel, then Joel stabs him from behind and kills him. While searching for his companion, another man also moves forward and sees his companion injured. When he comes to him, Joel attacks him from behind. After some time, both of them are seen tied. Joel is interrogating him about Ellie. He stabs him in the leg. Then he tells that Ellie is in Silver Lake. Joel takes the location and kills with a knife. Then kills the other man as well. Meanwhile, Ellie is kept in a cage and she sees a human ear over there. She understands that they are cannibals. She freaks out at him. David asks her name, but she doesn't tell. He tells that sometimes he has to feed his people with animal flesh, as well as human flesh without informing them, because they have no other way to survive. He is their leader, and he has to keep everyone alive. He also sees a leader in Ellie, asking her to join him. David learns that Ellie is as stubborn as him. David says he will let Joel go if his people get him. Ellie comes to him and holds his hand. Then she breaks his finger and tries to snatch the keys. But he knocks her down by hitting her with the cage door. He says that he will cut her into tiny little pieces. Ellie reveals her name and says to tell everyone that she broke his finger. Within a few hours, Joel also reaches. The trail of blood takes him to a room. He enters that room and finds Ellie's bag and work items there. Next, he sees his dead horse and the dead bodies of people hanging. He understands that this time he is facing cannibal. David and James are about to take Ellie out of the cage and cut it. She bites David to save herself. Ellie tells them to scare them that she is infected. She shows off her wound, which scares David as Ellie bit him. This wound seems very old to James. He does not understand how Ellie has been alive for so long. Taking the opportunity, Ellie kills James and escapes from there. She throws burning wood at David when he comes outside. Due to this, the resort catches fire. David calls Ellie out, then she stabs him from behind. David is injured but still manages to capture her. She is terrified of David. Then she attacks him with a butcher knife and takes out all her anger and brutally kills David. After some time, she comes out where she finds Joel. Then he pacifies her. She is very happy to see him. Joel calls Ellie baby girl for the very first time. In fact, till now he used to call his daughter Sarah as a baby girl. Now it seems that Joel has started considering Ellie as his daughter. They both proceed from there.
The finale episode begins with scenes of a pregnant woman, Anna, running frantically to save her life from a group of infected. Anna runs into a house and covers the door to a room she takes shelter in with a chair, but unfortunately, that is not enough. As the woman huffs and heaves from the physical toil and the mental pressure she is going through, an infected person rushes into the room and tries to attack her. Anna keeps trying her best to fight it off at the same time that her water has already broken, meaning that she is very close to giving birth. The woman had been carrying a switchblade with her, and she now uses it to stab and kill the infected, but not before mighty harm has been done first. Just as Anna gives birth to her baby, she also notices that she has been bitten by the infected on her thigh. Protecting her child is the very first instinct of the mother, and she cuts off the umbilical cord joining the two bodies as soon as she can. Anna then holds up her baby with love and tenderness, naming the child Ellie. This is indeed a flashback to the moment Ellie was born. Later that night, as Anna sat waiting to turn into an infected or for some much-needed help, a group of fireflies managed to find her. Led by Marlene, they find the mother and the baby, and it seems that Marlene and Anna have known each other all their lives, probably because they used to live in the same area in Boston. Showing her bite wound, Anna claims that she had already cut Ellie's umbilical cord before the infected bit her, and asked Marlene to help her out. She tells the Firefly leader to take Ellie to the Boston quarantine zone and keep her somewhere safe, where the child could grow up and have a healthy life. This was how Marlene got hold of baby Ellie and admitted her to Fedra school. Before they leave the house, though, Anna begs Marlene to kill her before she turns infected, and Marlene has no choice but to agree. Following the horrific events of The Last of Us Episode 8, Joel and Ellie's temperaments reverse for a while, as Ellie becomes the more silent and mentally absent of the two. The young girl is still clearly shaken by the haunting memory of a man trying to sexually violate her and her own subsequent violent outburst against the whole situation. Joel clearly takes notice of this and tries to be extra cheerful or humorous in order to make the girl feel better. It is not confirmed whether Joel knows exactly what happened in David's camp, but the man keeps making jokes and light-hearted comments, trying to help Ellie out of her state. The two make their way through old, abandoned buildings to the Firefly Hospital in Salt Lake City, and a sight on their way most definitely heals Ellie for the time being. After having earlier seen monkeys for the first time, Ellie now stumbles upon a majestic giraffe grazing on the wild vegetation that has been growing on buildings. In fact, there is an entire group of giraffes, including young ones, too, as the animals seem to have been from a zoo in the city and have managed to survive in the wild for all this time. It is this view of the animals that makes Joel propose a different option than what they have been pursuing so long. He tells Ellie that if she does not want to go ahead with the plan of going to the Firefly Hospital to get a vaccine made from her blood, then the two can immediately return to Jackson and live together as a family. But Ellie understandably does not want to give up on the many sacrifices they have had to make on their way on this journey, and she intends to help get the vaccine made. It is after this that Joel finally opens up to Ellie completely, freely talking about Sarah and the time when he lost her. The man had earlier spoken of someone having shot at him and missed, and he now reveals that this person was himself. On the second day after the outbreak, after Joel had lost his daughter Sarah and, therefore, the world around him, the man attempted suicide. Having flinched right before taking the shot had saved Joel, and Ellie admits that she is happy that events had panned out in such a manner. In an emotionally moving scene, Ellie talks about how time supposedly heals all grief, and Joel clearly says that it was not time that had healed him. For the 20 long years after the outbreak, Joel had still been extremely bitter and broken by the loss of his daughter, and it is only now that he openly speaks about his grief for the first time ever. There is no doubt that Joel admits that it has been Ellie who has healed him and who has managed to help him rejoin his broken self once more. The duo soon bring back their casual selves once more as Joel asks to be read out Will Livingston puns, and just as they are about to enter the hospital premises, a group of menacing soldiers sneak up on them. A stun grenade rolls out, and Joel is struck at the back of his head, with the man losing consciousness. When he wakes up sometime later, Joel finds himself lying on a hospital bed inside the Firefly outpost, and Marlene is with him. To his questions about where Ellie is, Marlene tells him about the doctors running tests on Ellie and the exact plan to make a vaccine. The doctor was sure it was possible to extract the cordyceps-infected cells from Ellie's body and artificially multiply them in a medical lab. These multiplied cells would then be injected into the bodies of people, and this would act as the vaccine. Since Ellie's cells were used to coexisting with the cordyceps fungus, the vaccine would teach the bodies of others not to react to the fungus brought in from bites of the infected, and therefore all would be immune to such bites. Although the plan does sound good enough to give it a try, Joel quickly points out its negative side and the horrible dangers involved. In a stunned and disbelieving tone, Joel reminds Marlene that the cordyceps grow inside the human brain, and the woman agrees. This means that extracting the infected cells from Ellie's body would surely kill her, for the brain would be operated on. Marlene had anticipated that she would have to have such a conversation, and she reminds Joel how Ellie would indeed die but save the lives of everyone else with her sacrifice. Joel still cannot fathom the plan, though, as he angrily tells Marlene to find someone else, to which the woman says that there is simply nobody else like Ellie. She then instructs her men to escort Joel out of the hospital facility and onto the highway, adding that he is to be shot dead if he does anything suspicious. As a last memory of Ellie, Marlene gives Joel the switchblade that the girl has often been using so far, the very same one that Anna had once left behind with baby Ellie. His bond with Ellie is perhaps the strongest that he has had since the apocalypse, and Joel now genuinely places himself in the role of a protective father in terms of Ellie. If he loses Ellie, just like he had lost Sarah, then it is the end for Joel as well. Therefore, the man sees the other option, to save Ellie by hook or by crook and escape the place. Besides everything, Joel is also a mostly bitter man, not easily believing or looking at the positive possibilities of situations. Not only is he not convinced about the possibility of a successful vaccine, but he also does not want to give it a chance, at least not at the cost of losing his daughter once more. In his most brutal form, Joel shoots through the entire hospital, killing all Firefly soldiers, including those who surrender as well. This scene is shot exquisitely, too, with background music taking over and the camera often going close into the faces of the dead men, reminding viewers of the horrible tragedy that this also was, along with being a desperate father's attempt to save his daughter. Joel even shoots the doctor dead before carrying an anesthetized Ellie in his arms, exactly like how he once carried Sarah on that fateful night in 2003. Taking the elevator down to the parking area, the man intends to drive off from the place in an operational car but has to deal with Marlene still in his way. When Joel angrily tells her that it could not be her decision whether to sacrifice Ellie for the greater good or not, Marlene responds that it could not be Joel's decision either. The true choice, if it could be made, in such a context would be Ellie's alone, but the fact that she was just a young teenager makes it more complex than that as well. Either way, Joel is resolute in his decision, though. He wants to save Ellie and be a perfect father to her, even if that comes at the cost of keeping the whole world's population vulnerable to the cordyceps fungus. After shooting Marlene dead, Joel places Ellie in the backseat of a car and drives away. On their way back towards Jackson, Ellie wakes up for a few minutes and asks confusedly what had happened back at the hospital. She last remembered being at the hospital with Marlene and the Fireflies. Joel now fills in that the doctors had been running some tests on Ellie, along with a few others just like her. There were dozens of others who were immune to the fungus just like Ellie was, but the doctors could not eventually do anything with their immunity. Unable to find a solution, the doctors and the Fireflies had given up on their search for a vaccine. The hospital had then been attacked by raiders, who killed off all the fireflies, including Marlene, and he had to escape with Ellie. All of this was obviously a lie, as Joel had made up this story, seemingly with a lot of caution, to make himself sound convincing. Later on, after a couple more days of their drive, the car breaks down, and Joel and Ellie have to continue toward Jackson on foot. Joel talks about how Ellie and Sarah would have liked each other, but Ellie is clearly concerned with a certain thought of her own. After all, she had known how rare her immunity was, and even if there could have been a few more like her, the fact that the doctors had given up so easily must not have sat well with her. She now directly tells Joel about the first time she had killed, having shot Riley at the shopping mall because her best friend had already started turning while she did not, even though they had been bitten at the same time. Ellie is evidently still scared of ending up alone, for everyone else around her could be dead because of the fungus. Ellie is suspicious, which is probably why she makes Joel swear that everything he has told her about the events at the hospital is true. Having acted solely out of personal love and affection, Joel knows that the young girl would not be able to comprehend what it means for a father to lose his daughter. Joel lies and says that everything he has told Ellie about the events at the hospital is indeed the truth. Thank you for watching.